All right, we've got a big update on the Fanatics Panini lawsuit. I'm going to keep this quick, no frills. I'm just going to tell you what I heard. I have spoke to multiple attorneys at this point, one very familiar with these types of proceedings, and I have a better understanding of what we learned yesterday from the court filing. I've also looked through, it's like a 35-page court ruling. I printed it out, went through the entire thing, and I have some more interesting thoughts. I know we dropped an episode last night where we quoted the Sports Business Journal article. The article previously was headlined, Ruling Supports Fanatics Antitrust Claim. And that felt a little misleading this morning with the new information that I have. They've actually updated the article and sort of redacted it. So Sports Business Journal today, their new headline is Fanatics Panini ruling described as technical proceeding. So in case you guys don't have, I don't have a law degree either, but I spoke to people who do have law degrees, and Paul Lesko was actually, he's kind of like the hobby lawyer. I'm going to say what he said because he's an attorney. He says, this is a disclaimer. This ruling does not mean that Panini has proven what it needs to win, just that as the allegations stand in the complaint, the case is good enough to continue. All right. So that is actually true. So what happened in this proceeding? Antitrust cases they could take a decade sometimes, 5 years, 7 years. This is a long marathon stretch. And along the way, there's different stage gates you have to get through as you proceed through the case. And the stuff you see on TV where evidence is presented and all the fun stuff, that is called discovery. We're not even at discovery. This is pre-discovery. So where we are right now is looking at whether or not these specific claims in this case are even allowed to proceed, okay? One of the claims is there was a conspiracy between the NFLPA, the MLBPA, and Fanatics to license both players' associations' intellectual property on an exclusive basis. This is a claim. There was no ruling on this claim yesterday. However, they did allow this claim to proceed. One important note that the attorney I spoke with said is that if they do allow it to proceed, it's a very low threshold. They allow most things to proceed. It can even be 90-10. Like they might allow 90% of the claims through at this point because they just want as much as they can before they get into discovery, which will actually prove or disprove things. No damages were assessed yesterday. Nothing was won or lost. In fact, it was actually interesting. Fanatics on the other side had a couple of their claims dismissed as well. So, I guess it's not a victory, for Panini or Fanatics, but for me personally, I do feel like this is massive news for the hobby because we're all seeking updates on this lawsuit. It's going to change the game. However, whatever happens, maybe Fanatics merges with Panini down the road and there's a cost associated with that, a multi-billion-dollar cost. Maybe they are found that there's some antitrust stuff. Maybe some gnarly things come out in discovery. My prediction is this never even enters discovery. This thing gets settled. Fanatics buys Panini, and the price maybe goes up a little bit if some of these things goes through. But again, I'm not an attorney. That's my opinion. And so it's funny. The article quoted a bunch of things, and it almost seemed like it was factual at the time. So I wanted to be almost a fair journalist here. And last night we quoted a couple things that were taken as facts, and it's more like they're allowed to proceed, which is a very big difference. And I wanted to make that clear. The other one was the, owning 100% of the trading card market. We didn't really comment on that one on our video. And I gave my thoughts about how these licenses have changed from 2 years to 10 years. And that is a monopolistic practice, but that's not really what this article was covering. So it's interesting. I guess the end of the day, this is a technical procedure to get to the next step, which I think is wicked important for us to understand the hobby and understand what's happening. But that next step still needs to take place, and that's a decent ways out. I don't want anybody to think, like, if you think that, 3 months from now, Topps is going to stop making cards, or, they're going to buy Panini next week, or like there's like a win or loss. We're just not there yet. It'll be interesting to see how this case plays out, and how Fanatics handles it going forward, and how these news outlets cover it, because we had, I'm going to say 4 or 5 yesterday that kind of said the same thing, and now they're all redacting today, which is pretty wild. It's like, get the story right. It's like a small space of like a couple 100,000 people. Like, it's crazy. But I thought this is important information for you guys to have. I'm going to, as this case goes through, I will connect with lawyers the entire time. LZ and I will have some on if we can, especially Paul Lesko. I want to try to get him on, and we will continue to follow this. So you can hit us up here, and I will keep covering this fairly. I will consult with attorneys to make sure that we are accurately accounting what's happening, because I think this is one of the more important things that's going to happen to the hobby in the next decade, and has been. So thanks, everyone. Hope that was helpful.